gentlemen, Erev Tov, good evening. Welcome to Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. I'd like to remind everyone to please silence your phones at this time. We're assembled here today at the Joya Claire Sonnenfeld Auditorium for the 54th Annual Board of Governors meeting, conferment of honorary doctoral degrees and President's Award. My name is Leah Zinder. I'm your host for this evening, and a few personal words, if I may. I came on Aliyah many years ago. This is difficult. I raised a wonderful family here. I've covered, no, thank you. I've covered the news as a journalist for most of my life. I don't remember a time as uncertain, as agonizing for all of us, and as challenging as these past months have been. And for that reason, and because of my deep connection with this university, this is a very moving moment for me to see you who have come at this critical time to show your support for Israel and for the university. So thank you. Thank you for coming. And our ceremony this evening will begin with the academic procession. Please rise and remain standing until the procession has concluded. I'm pleased now to invite the members of the Presidium to come before this assembly. The procession will be led by the deans of the university faculties and by senior members of the academic administration. Professor Orna Brown-Levinson, Dean of the Kreitman School for Advanced Graduate Studies. Professor Orna Almog, Dean of Students. Professor Relly Hershkovitz, Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences. Professor Yaniv Gelbstein, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering Sciences. Professor Miki Malul, Dean of the Guildford Glaser Faculty of Business and Management. Professor Nirit Ben-Aryeh Debi, Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. Professor Maya Bar-Sadan will take the place of Professor Gavriel Lemkov, Dean of the Faculty of Natural Sciences. Professor Noam Weisbrod, Director of the Sde Boker campus. Professor Ofer Ovadia, Dean of the Eilat campus. Professor Gal de Botton, Vice Rector. Professor Timur Melamed, Pro-Rector for Education. Professor Raz Jelinek, Vice President and Dean for Research and Development. Professor Sarab Abu Rabia Kwedar, Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion. Professor Dan Bloomberg, Vice President for Regional and Industrial Development. Professor Michal Barasher Sigal, Vice President for Global Engagement. I'm now pleased to invite the Vice Chairs of the University's Board of Governors to join the procession. Tony Young. Stephen Breslauer. Carol Saul. Laurence Ochayon. I would now like to invite Lloyd Goldman, Chairman of the Board of Governors. Avi Nissenkorn, Chairman of the Executive Committee. Professor Chaim Hames, Rector of the University. And Professor Daniel Shamovitz, President of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite our Honorary Doctorate recipients to join the procession and take their places on the stage. Professor Allan M. Brandt, United States of America. Yehudit Ravitz, Israel. Katharina von Schnurbein, Germany. Professor Michael M. Crow, United States of America. Kindly be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to this exceptional gathering, where we come together to celebrate the remarkable achievements and enduring contributions of outstanding leaders in their fields. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev stands as a beacon of knowledge, inspiring individuals to engage actively and effect positive change. Rooted in the vision of Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, this university community is dedicated to shaping a better future for the Negev. Tonight, as we gather to pay tribute to our distinguished honorees, we will also be granting the President's Award to nurse Nili Margalit, who was freed from captivity in Gaza. and to the esteemed medical centers in southern Israel, Soroka University Medical Center, Barzilai University Medical Center, and Samson Assuta Ashdod University Hospital. This award symbolizes our enduring commitment to honoring those who demonstrate extraordinary humanity, resilience, and perseverance, especially in the wake of October 7th. Tonight, as we celebrate the achievements of these exceptional individuals and institutions, we reaffirm our shared commitment to the pursuit of knowledge, the advancement of innovation, and the cultivation of a brighter future for all. I now call upon the President of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, Professor Daniel Shamovitz, to address the Assembly.
Dear members of the Board of Governors, guests, faculty, and the entire BGU community, is it an immense honor for us to be here today with you tonight. Especially this year, it is important that we maintain our commitment to honor those who embody the legacy of David Ben-Gurion and his vision of a Hebrew Oxford in the Negev. Each year, the Selection Committee and the University Senate exert tremendous effort to carefully select the individuals we honor tonight. This year, our focus is on the virtue of resilience, a quality that has been especially pivotal to our university and community over the past months. In times of crisis and challenge, resilience becomes our guiding star. David Ben-Gurion, faced with profound challenges throughout his life, demonstrated unwavering resilience. He faced numerous adversities and conflicts, yet he steadfastly adhered to his vision. His resilience underpinned what would become his most enduring legacy, the State of Israel. Ben-Gurion understood that resilience, the capacity to persevere and even thrive under the harshest conditions, is key to achievement, and that, in his words, our historical fate will be made viable, sustainable, only by our resilience. This insight highlights the importance of resilience and inner strength in all aspects of life. And just as Ben-Gurion stood resilience in the face of trials, so too has our university community in these trying times. Amid the gravest terror attack since the Holocaust and the ensuing war, our community, students, employees, staff, faculty, and supporters, has not only confronted loss, fear, and profound pain, but has also shown unparalleled resilience. Our response has been one of action, courage, a surge in volunteerism, and robust commitment to the Negev. In these challenging times, we've stepped up to fill the voids left by governmental inaction, embodying the true spirit of responsibility and community engagement at Ben-Gurion University. We have adapted, endured, and emerged stronger, embodying the spirit of resilience that is integral to our identity and to our mission. Likewise, all of you dear laureates, citizens from around the world, from diverse fields of activity, embody the spirit of resilience. You make a profound difference in the world, and I have no doubt that Ben-Gurion would have been referring to you when he spoke of pioneers guided by a pioneering spirit. Professor Allan Brandt, I am sure that David Ben-Gurion had you in mind when he wrote, "Medicine is not only a scientific profession, but draws from all branches of science and humanities. Without the development of all branches of science, without a thorough study of all the physical, plant, and he did say plant, and animal sciences, and the mental and cognitive factors that act on human health, there can be no progress in medicine." Your career as a scholar of medical history and the history of science, focusing on the interplay of ethical and social issues with medical practices, epitomizes this profound understanding. Your work integrates diverse disciplines, illuminates the complex impacts of medical developments on public health and policy. In short, your comprehensive approach to studying the factors that influence human health truly embodies the visionary ideals that Ben-Gurion believed essential for advancing the field of medicine. Katharina von Schnurbein, Ben-Gurion likely had you in mind and your mission when he said in 1943, every anti-Semitic act and influence consists of two evils and arsonists. We will not correct the wicked for those who fail for lack of knowledge, but for those who fail for lack of knowledge, for their sake, it is necessary to explain things as they are. As coordinator of the European Commission for Combating Anti-Semitism and Fostering Jewish Life, you have shown an unwavering commitment to eradicating anti-Semitism, promoting Holocaust education, and nurturing Jewish cultural vitality in Europe. Your resilience in confronting racism, xenophobia, and anti-Semitism across Europe is evident in your championing equal opportunities and peace among all faiths. Your efforts resonate with the values we cherish and the future we strive to build, a future of resilience, peace, and respect for all. Professor Michael Crow, when I think of Arizona State University, before you began your tenure 22 years ago, I'm reminded of David Ben-Gurion's famous statement from 1963 at the laying of the cornerstone for what would become BGU. You may consider me a madman and a layman, but I dream of a kind of Hebrew Oxford in the Negev. Who could have dreamed then that BGU would grow to be what it is today? And who could have foreseen, aside from you, that ASU would transform into the Oxford of Arizona, into one of America's premier institutes of higher education in the Arizona desert? Your role in developing a groundbreaking model of academia underscores your belief in ASU's connection to the communities it serves. And dear Yehudit Ravitz, before your birth here in Beersheba, David Ben-Gurion apparently prophesied your career. And I'm going to have to go back and forth between English and Hebrew for this to make sense. Only in the state of Israel will a Jewish culture, Tarbut Yehudit, emerge, one which will be 100% Jewish, 100% Yehudit, and 100% human. I can think of no way of describing you. 100% Yehudit, 100% human. Your music captures the full spectrum of human emotion, from moments of pain and sadness to those of joy and love, resonating deeply within the fabric of Israeli society. It is as diverse as the culture that inspires it, all infused with your unique touch and exceptional quality. Dear laureates, you are mirrors reflecting the principles that guide us. You embody the great wealth that characterizes Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. Your acceptance of an honorary degree from BGU honors our institution and its values. We also choose tonight to honor 3 outstanding institutions and 1 remarkable woman with Ben-Gurion University's Presidential Award. The word resilience may have been overused in my speech, may have been overused since October 7th, but for these honorees, resilience is truly an understatement. BGU is privileged to have worked hand in hand with our 3 affiliated university hospitals, Soroka, Barzilai, and Samson Assuta. On October 7th, each was challenged as never before, and I dare say no hospital anywhere has ever been. We all stand in awe of the courage and strength of the hundreds of staff, students, and volunteers who extended aid to the wounded and comfort to their families, all while under constant attack and threat from Gaza. And lastly, Nili Margalit. None can imagine your 55 long days and nights in Hamas captivity. Your extraordinary resilience, dedication, humanity, and creativity kept hope alive for those held hostage with you in the profoundest darkness. You embody the Ben-Gurion spirit daily. Dear friends and honorees, I am sure you join me in demanding that the remaining hostages, including Noah Argamani from Ben-Gurion University, be brought home now. As we proceed with tonight's ceremony, let us all reflect on the strength and resilience that the resilient spirit defines in our university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Shamovitz. I now call upon the Rector of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, Professor Chaim Hames, to deliver his greetings.
Members of the Board of Governors, staff, faculty, my colleagues, the deans, our honorees this evening, their families and guests, ladies and gentlemen. What is the purpose of this ceremony? For me, aside from the opportunity to meet and talk with some fascinating people and bestow upon them the highest honor offered by our university, their presence here also provides a moment for reflection. To take a step back from the day-to-day running of this wonderful institution and remind ourselves why what we are doing is so important. I was a doctoral student at Cambridge University in the early 90s. While we wined and dined, we tossed around theoretical frameworks that were then becoming fashionable and fascinated us with the possibilities for new avenues of interpretation and comprehension of the world around us, history, and the texts we were reading and writing about. One of these theories was deconstructionism, a philosophical and literary theory that emerged in the 1960s, primarily associated with the work of Algerian-born French Jewish philosopher Jacques Derrida. At its core, deconstructionism challenges the notion of absolute truth and the idea that language can accurately represent reality. Deconstructionists argue that language is inherently unstable and that the meaning of a text is not fixed or predetermined. They propose that language is constantly in flux, with words and concepts constantly shifting in their meanings and relationships to one another. This, in turn, undermines the idea of a stable, objective truth, one that can be conveyed through language. One of the key tenets of deconstructionism is that the meaning of a word is not simply its dictionary definition, but rather the complex web of associations and differences that surround it, and that this instability of language has significant implications for the way we understand truth and knowledge. This understanding of language challenges the idea of a single authoritative interpretation of a text or event, and instead emphasizes the multiplicity of possible meanings and the ways in which these meanings are shaped by various cultural, historical, and political contexts. The influence of deconstructionism has been far-reaching, extending beyond the realm of literary criticism and philosophy to fields such as history, politics, law, religion, and cultural studies. Traditional notions of authority, expertise, and the objectivity of knowledge are often challenged by those who argue that these concepts are all shaped by underlying power structures and biases. However, deconstructionism and its offshoots have also been the subject of much criticism, the main argument being that it leads to a radical relativism in which all truth claims can be equally valid or invalid. We see the effect of this particularly in the Western world, where progressive liberalism has reached a point where any truth claim, value judgment, or even the use of pronouns that might hurt the feelings of, or, God forbid, be interpreted as criticizing some minority group or person, can be considered contemptible, racist, or oppressive. The horrific events of the 7th of October and their aftermath, and the way they have been portrayed around the world, and more particularly on university campuses, have shown the shortcomings of deconstructionism on steroids, though I am not sure that many of those protesting would recognize the term and where it can lead, whereby truth is always relative, facts are a question of perspective, and ignorance prevails. Academia is supposed to be a beacon of light in the search for truth and knowledge for the betterment of humanity. What is happening on university campuses in Europe and the USA has given me reason to think that the pursuit of truth and knowledge is no longer perceived to be the central essence of academia. Any first-year undergraduate with a moral compass who spent an hour reading the reports and looking at the videos and pictures being published on the internet would unequivocally be able to state that Israeli citizens were brutally massacred by terrorists on the 7th of October. Any serious professor, even a radical deconstructionist, who was prepared to examine the available evidence and put it in context, would be very hesitant in using the term genocide. Therefore, it seems almost beyond belief that world-leading academic institutions and academics are unable to come out with clear, concise, and definite condemnations of the massacre, and instead support their students when they speak out in support of Hamas and terror and advocate for the destruction of Israel. The fudging of the truth in the statements that appeared, the sheer ignorance of the professors and students, or the attempt by some to create some sort of bizarre equation between the Israeli victims of the massacre and the Palestinian victims of the Israeli military retaliation, for example, by Judith Butler, show a moral turpitude that begs the question whether these universities and their faculties still remain true to their essential raison d'être. It seems that relativism and political correctness, or the idea that there is no absolute truth, or there are always at least two sides to the story, or the fear of being accused of privileging one group of students over another, or annoying donors, means that when the truth stares you in the face, you will look for ways to circumvent it, supposedly in the name of upholding free speech. The truth is out there, visible to all who want to see it. Upholding the right to free speech does not mean that one can deny the truth, as is happening on campuses around the world. And on the other hand, recognizing what happened does not mean that there can be no legitimate criticism of Israel's response. Those academics and institutions who are prevaricating should be ashamed of themselves and are showing moral cowardice. They need to do some real soul-searching to rediscover the principles that are the fundamental and underlying core of academia. I would like to congratulate the remarkable individuals sitting here on the stage that we are honoring tonight with the degree of the Doctor Honoris Causa. Each of you have distinguished records of creativity, vision, and excellence. Each of you, in his or her field, has made a difference and significant contribution, striven to follow their own truths and conscience, and have done what they can to the best of their abilities for the betterment of society and the world. I would like to thank the recipients of the President's Award, the hospitals of the South, for all they do in normal times for the welfare of the population of the South of Israel, and even more so since the 7th of October. And to Nili Margalit, who I'm sure would rather not be in the limelight, but circumstances have forced it upon her. What we have learned about her bravery and the way she took care of her fellow captives in Gaza is an example for us all. You're an incredible role model and human being. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hames. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the conferment of the honorary doctoral degrees. Before each honorary doctorate recipient is called to the podium, a short film will be shown. The recipient will then come forward to receive the degree. The rector will confer the hood. The president will confer the scroll. And so we begin. The university hereby honors Professor Allan M. Brandt.
I think that the seed of my becoming a historian was a kind of fascination about how other people live their lives, not just in other places, but at other times. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, and the most important role models for me were my parents, who valued trying to do good things in the world. I would say as a child I had many interests, but I was especially interested in reading. I was a kind of advanced and voracious reader at a very young age. I have memories of going off to play baseball with my friends, but carrying books with me because when I was sitting on the bench waiting to get to bat, I would be reading books. And I loved reading about the past. And one of the things that had always motivated my work was the idea that we could study the past in a way to understand the present. And through history of medicine, examining problems of health and disease, I realized I'd found a window into the lives of people, and that's been a consistent theme for me really since that time. I might turn my attention to the history of cigarette smoking, which is one of the most significant risks in modern societies, and hundreds of thousands, millions of people die every year as a result of cigarette smoking. My books and my writing really revealed just how much the companies knew when they knew it. My historical work was used in legal cases, and in the early 2000s I testified in a federal case here in the United States accusing the big tobacco companies of racketeering and fraud. So for me, that was a kind of pivotal moment in my career where I could use my deep historical research to try to limit the accessibility of cigarettes in the 21st century. I visited Israel many times. My wife has a gigantic family in Israel. When my oldest son took a year off between high school and college, he spent a semester at Ben-Gurion. We came to visit him then. I think that was the first time I had an opportunity to speak at Ben-Gurion, and I have students who teach and do research in history of medicine in Israel. I've had Israeli students come to study with me here at Harvard. I should say I've never received an honorary doctorate before, so it's a really, incredible honor. And of course, coming to Israel at such a difficult time, is really important to me.
I call upon Professor Allan M. Brandt to approach the center of the stage, and I invite the President and the Rector to join him. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Professor Allan M. Brandt in homage to a preeminent scholar of medical history and the history of science, celebrated for his singular illumination of ethical and social issues fundamental to human health and well-being. In acknowledgement of an exceptional scientist and humanist who has dedicated his career to the wide-ranging study of the history of epidemics, public health, medical practices, and health policy, and whose pioneering works, notably The Cigarette Century, have garnered prestigious awards. To a distinguished member of the National Academy of Medicine, in recognition of his dedication to nurturing the next generation of researchers and his contributions to the field, including his tenure as Dean of the Harvard Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. With appreciation from an eminent academic who has held pivotal roles in significant academic and public institutions and provided invaluable counsel to the U.S. Department of Justice as an expert witness in the landmark legal case against the tobacco industry. and with deep gratitude for his steadfast commitment to upholding scientific integrity and promoting the universal values of a free and just society for the benefit of all humankind, by conferring upon him the degree of Doctor Philosophiae Honoris Causa. Thank you, Professor Brandt. The university hereby honors Yehudit Ravitz.
אני נורא שמחה לקבל הכרה כזאת מהאוניברסיטה בבאר שבע, שזה משמעותי בשבילי. ממש התרגשתי. באר שבע היא בתוכי. זה משהו שהוא, זה הנוף הפנימי שלי. כשאני קוראת ספרים אני מדמיינת אותם בשכונות שגדלתי בהן. יש לי סטודיו מתחת לבית, שכל יום אני צריכה לפקוד אותו. זאת אומרת, אני קמה בבוקר ויורדת למטה, וחצי יום אני שם. להיות זמינה לכלים, זמינה להשראה, או זמינה... זה ההביטט שלי. אני נמשכתי למוזיקה. נורא מהר הבנתי שזה... לא הבנתי, פשוט זה היה משהו מובן מאליו. ילדת 14, 15, 16 אפילו. בתוך החדר שלי, במקום שאני עושה בו שיעורים, את יודעת, מקום הכי אפור ומבאס, של לשבת, יש לך פה את העבודות שאת צריכה לעשות וזה, ואז כזה שמתי את השיר, לקחתי את הגיטרה, הדלקתי את הטייפ שהיה לי, והקלטתי את השיר, ואז קמתי, הרגשתי שקרה בחדר משהו שהוא גבוה יותר, הוא יותר חזק ממנו. זה קצת הפחיד אותי אפילו. כי זו התנסות שהיא גדולה על הגוף הקטן הזה. זה כזה, אני אדם נורא צעיר בשלב הזה. אז זה משהו שהוא רוח כזה, אין לו ידיים ורגליים, הוא שיר. זה איזו מנגינה פנימית שלך שיוצא. כי זה לא עובר דרך השכל בכלל. אני הבנתי מיד שזה לא אני באמת, אני איזה מין שליח של זה. ואני רואה את זה במיוחד עכשיו, בימים הקשים האלה. שאני פוגשת אנשים שקראו להם את הדבר, דברים הכי נוראים שיכולים להיות. אב שכול אמר, אחרי ששרנו איזה שיר, אז הוא אומר, 3 דקות לא חשבתי על הבן שלי. שזה איזה יקום, זאת אומרת, להגיד כזה דבר, זה אומר ששיר עושה דרך בתוך צער בנפש של בן אדם, והוא עושה גשר לחיים החדשים שהוא חי עכשיו. בשנה הבאה זה לא שיר שלי, זה שיר ידוע, שהוא במקור נורא נורא שמח, ודווקא בגלל זה לקחתי אותו. אמרתי, נראה איך הוא מרגיש היום. היום הוא היה הרבה פחות צוער. או תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הזאת שאנחנו מצויים בה להיות יהודייה, זה פתאום אני מבינה שאני יהודייה יותר מכל זמן אחר.
תמיד השארתי פתח לתקווה.
את יודעת, אני אופטימית, את יודעת שאני ממש... זאת אומרת, השיר הזה הוא מילה טובה, הוא מייצג אותי. אפילו בשלב הכי כבד, ידעתי שהגשם ירד, ואני ככה חיה. שאני יודעת להיות בתוך הקשה, ואני יודעת גם בתוך הקשה להאמין שאנחנו נצא מזה יותר טוב.
I call upon Yehudit Ravitz to approach the center of the stage and invite the president and rector to join her. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Yehudit Ravitz in acknowledgement of an outstanding singer, songwriter, musical arranger, and producer, a giant of the Israel music world whose songs have become the soundtrack of our lives through moments big and small, times of pain and sadness, and of joy and love. With deep appreciation for an exceptional artist whose music is intrinsic to Israeli society and culture, which are ingrained in her soul. With admiration for a truly gifted musician whose oeuvre spans classical Israel folk music and poetry set to melodies, through rock to Brazilian music and children's songs, and who infused every note and sound with exceptional quality. Born and raised in Beersheba, her remarkable talent and creative endeavors are continually recharged through her prolific and fruitful collaborations with countless other artists. In homage to her enduring imprint on Israeli culture and her steadfast promotion of tolerance, equality, and social justice for all citizens of the country. And with gratitude for her great love of this country and its people, and for her many songs that have lifted the spirit through their precision and grace, comforting and touching the hearts of an entire generation by conferring upon her the degree of Dr. Philosophiae Honoris Causa. Mazal Tov, Yehudit. And now, we wish to honor Yehudit Ravitz through the medium she knows best, music. One of Yehudit's most cherished songs, Mila Tova, a kind word, sums up the essence of her ethos. In a world fraught with challenges and uncertainties, and especially now, Mila Tova reminds us of the power of a single kind word to uplift, to heal, and to instill hope. So as we embark on this musical journey, we remember that in a world hungering for compassion and understanding, Mila Tova, a kind word, has the power to illuminate even the darkest of times. I invite Lihi Toledano, a most talented young artist, to perform Yehudit Ravitz's timeless classic, Mila Tova.
זה כבוד כל כך גדול עבורי.
אפילו בשרב הכי כבד ידעתי שהגשם עוד ירד. בחלון שלי ציפור, אפילו במשב סופה בקור. לא פעם זה קשה, אבל לרוב מילה טובה מיד עושה לי טוב. רק מילה טובה או שתיים, לא יותר מזה. ברחוב ראשי סואן, ראיתי איש יושב ומנגן, פגשתי אנשים מאושרים, אפילו בין שבילי עפר צרים. תמיד השארתי פתח לתקווה, אפילו כשכבתה האהבה. חלמתי על ימים יותר יפים, אפילו בלילות שינה טרופים. לא פעם זה קשה, אבל הרוב מילה טובה מיד עושה לי טוב, רק מילה טובה או שתיים, לא יותר מזה. אפילו בשרב הכי כבד ידעתי שהגשם עוד ירד. ראיתי בחלום שלי ציפור, אפילו במשב סופה וקור. לא פעם זה קשה, אבל הרוב מילה טובה מיד עושה לי טוב, רק מילה טובה או שתיים, לא יותר מזה. מיד עושה לי טוב, רק מילה טובה או שתיים, לא יותר מזה. תודה רבה.
Thank you, Lihi. We look forward to hearing your voice in a little while. The university now honors Katharina von Schnurbein.
I think that it should not be for the Jews to fight anti-Semitism, that it's actually our problem and our responsibility. I grew up in the Bavarian forest, and it used to be really the end of the world because it was close to the Iron Curtain, which at the time was Czechoslovakia. We grew up in a way that both my parents were actually at home. We had a lot of time together, and there was discussion about what kind of responsibility we as Germans have towards the Jewish people and also towards Israel. And I think that for my parents it was important to instill a certain compass, and this compass has guided me throughout my life up until now. I'm also trying to do that with my own 4 kids, and I hope that it will give them also a compass for life. The fall of the Iron Curtain was a key moment, and the border was open, and so I was going there to just explore. Afterwards I went to Prague to learn Czech. I started working for the European Commission in Prague. So I was appointed in December 2015 as the first EU Commission coordinator on combating anti-Semitism, and later I asked to add to that title also and fostering Jewish life. My role from the beginning was first to reach out to the Jewish community, to listen to them and We then proposed policy measures as a strategy, that's a strategy on combating anti-Semitism and fostering Jewish life. And now the role is to implement this together with the team. And it's maybe even the first time in the millennia of European history that we have a positive agenda of wanting to foster Jewish life. If Jewish life now is threatened, as it is at the moment, given the current tsunami of anti-Semitism that we are witnessing, it will have an impact on all of us and on democracy and the values that our society is built on. I went to Israel for the first time in 1994 with my parents and a group that they had organized, and I was already then impressed. When I received the letter from the Ben-Gurion University, I actually didn't believe it. It came out of the blue, and I'm honored and humbled also because I'm doing my job. This is my responsibility, and the fact that it is recognized is amazing. I'm tremendously grateful and cherish it, and it's an encouragement also for
I call upon Katharina von Schnurbein to approach the center of the stage and ask the President and Rector to join her. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Katharina von Schnurbein in recognition of a courageous and gifted diplomat for her uncompromising commitment to countering racism, xenophobia, and anti-Semitism around the world, with esteem for the European Commission Coordinator on combating anti-Semitism and fostering Jewish life, for her unstinting efforts to formulate and implement a policy to eradicate anti-Semitism in Europe, and her wholehearted belief in the importance of equal opportunities and peace among peoples of all faiths. With admiration for an inspiring stateswoman who valiantly promotes the values of the European Union and consistently deploys her many skills in service of the public while holding significant positions, including as advisor to the President of the European Commission, responsible for dialogue with churches, religious organizations, and civil society. With gratitude for the invaluable close ties she has forged with Jewish communities, and for her ceaseless endeavors to ensure their security on European soil, foster a thriving Jewish culture, and ensure Holocaust remembrance for future generations. And with sincere appreciation of her pursuit of true justice and mutual understanding for a prosperous and better future for all people wherever they may be, by conferring upon her the degree of Doctor Philosophiae Honoris Causa. Thank you, Katharina. The university hereby honors Professor Michael M. Crow.
Human beings are endowed with a wonderful thing, the human mind. We're endowed with unbelievable learning capabilities, and all of the learning outcomes that we're not seeing across the breadth of our populations, all of the distorted outcomes that are occurring sociologically, they are derivative of inadequate teaching and inadequate learning environments. And so what I've become focused on in building universities and in building this university has been on the development of every mechanism possible for human potential to be accelerated. In the US, we still have 20 to 25% of the people don't graduate from high school. You know, I mean, how hard could it be to get someone to learn the things that you need to learn to get through high school? It's made hard because we have archaic structures, simpleton-based methods for teaching. Basically, it goes like this. I'm going to teach you chemistry, but if you don't understand how a chemist teaches chemistry and you can't understand the three-dimensionality of organic chemistry, too bad for you. I grew up in a Navy family, so in the US, my father was an enlisted man in the Navy, a working class guy. We lived mostly in public housing projects and Navy projects. I moved 21 times before I went to college, went to 17 schools all over the country. So we're in constant perpetual motion, and I think what that did for me was gave me several things. One, a high level of adaptability. Two, a high level of understanding of difference. And also a deep understanding of the inherent complexities of making this democracy work. Arizona State University is what we call the new American university, the university which is egalitarian in our access. We have 80,000 students on campus, 30,000 staff, 6,000 faculty members. This will sound like a cliche, but building the future that, that we're struggling to attain. We have the future that we want. Well, how are we going to get it? And that's the commitment here. That's what we're focused on. Israel and the United States are both young democracies, and young democracies are fledgling things. It's very difficult for democracies to survive because authoritarianism has been the dominant form of human governance for most of the existence of our species. And so as new kinds of egalitarian universities like Ben-Gurion and ASU emerge, it's nice to get recognition that the model is important.
I call upon Professor Michael Crow to approach the center of the stage and ask the President and Rector to join him. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Professor Michael M. Crow with admiration for the leadership and vision of an accomplished academic, president of Arizona State University, one of the largest universities in the United States, who for more than 2 decades has been an exemplar of scholarly excellence and significant public impact. In recognition of an inspiring researcher of science and technology management and policy, a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, who has mentored generations of students throughout his impressive career and advocated for the expansion of access to higher education. With appreciation for his role in pioneering and developing the groundbreaking model that views every person not only has equal opportunity to realize their goals and to instilling values that will improve society as a whole by conferring upon him the degree of Doctor Philosophiae Honoris Causa. Please remain standing. I now invite Professor Michael M. Crow to the podium to speak on behalf of the honorary degree recipients.
Well, on behalf of my fellow honorees, it really is a tremendous honor to be here at a university of such importance in the evolution of democracy. The young democracy Israel, 76 years old this year, the young democracy of the United States, not yet 250 years old, are both beacons of light in a world filled still with hate, filled still with a lack of understanding of what freedom really means. The attacks on October 7th were an unbelievably heinous act by the terrorist organizations, Hamas and their allies, not only against the state of Israel, the people of Israel, but against all democracies and for everything that we stand for. And it's an important moment in time and space for us to think about what that means. It's hard to imagine here, just a few months after the attacks and in the middle of the war, that the arc of history, as Martin Luther King said in the United States, does bend towards justice. It is a difficult bending process. And that the emergence of democracies that fight for freedom, fight for their people, fight for the rights of the individuals is the heat by which that arc towards justice can be maintained. The United States is a country itself that has been through unbelievable processes in its own evolution. At the 76th anniversary of the United States in the 1850s, just before the beginning of the Civil War, at this anniversary in Israel, the country is about 10 million people. The United States in 1852 was only 24 million people. And at the opening of the Civil War, 30 million people. 650,000 people were killed as soldiers in that war. 50,000 civilians were killed. An unbelievable process by which the forces of slavery, the forces of evil, had to be destroyed. But in that process of destruction, a new and better country also emerged. Slavery was ended. Slavery was ended. The country moved forward in new ways. The country came back together. Later, when President Roosevelt was beginning to organize the forces of the United States to fight fascism in Europe, to fight fascism in Japan, he articulated before the beginning of the war 4 essential things, 4 freedoms. He said, why do we fight? The emergence of democracies successfully on this planet requires them to be protected. But what are they protecting? And he identified 4 basic freedoms. And my hope is that a university like Ben-Gurion University and a university like Arizona State University can, in the future, find ways to emerge from where we are with these 4 freedoms, the 4 basic freedoms on the tip of our tongue as something that we work on and work toward and drive forward. And the first is freedom of speech, the ability to express yourself. The second, which has been the cause of so many wars, so many deaths, it's almost unbelievable, is the freedom for free religious expression. The third basic freedom is the freedom from want. The freedom from want. People cannot be suffering. We must find ways for people to not suffer, to advance with their lives. And the last is the freedom from fear. Democracies ensure these freedoms when they fight for these freedoms, when they try to move as many people into these freedoms as possible. And I'm just hopeful that in everything that we're doing together with BGU and everything that we're trying to do at ASU, that we are advancing these 4 basic freedoms in a way in which our 2 democracies can continue to move forward, not only for the betterment of our own countries, but for the betterment of the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Crow. At this point, we'll pause to reflect for a moment on the messages of hope and possibility that have echoed through this evening, and who better to capture those sentiments than John Lennon with his timeless song, Imagine. The simplicity of its lyrics invites us to envision a world guided by peace, harmony, and empathy. It reminds us that despite the immense complexities of our times, the dream of a better tomorrow remains within our reach, waiting to be realized through the collective power of imagination and goodwill. And with that promise in mind, I invite Lihi Toledano to grace us with her rendition of the timeless anthem, Imagine.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine all positions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. Brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. תודה רבה.
Thank you, Lihi. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to honor those who embody the spirit of resilience, unwavering strength, solidarity, and determination that defines Ben-Gurion University community, as we pay special tribute to the recipients of the President's Award. The first President's Award this evening goes to the medical centers in southern Israel: Soroka University Medical Center, Barzilai University Medical Center, and Samson Assuta Ashdod University Hospital.
אני בסביבות 8:30, 8 הייתי כבר בבית החולים, באסותא אשדוד כמובן. בדרך פטריות של עשן.
אני מתארגן ומתחיל לנסוע לבית החולים. אני נוסע דרך ירי טילים מסיבי בתוך אשקלון.
כבר לפני השעה 8 החלטנו לפעול לפי פרוטוקול של מלחמה.
באזור השעה 10 בית החולים היה מוכן למלחמה, כל המיטות ממוגנות, חדרי הניתוח הם ערוכים לקבל פצועים.
התחלנו לקבל זרם של פצועים בצורה מטורפת. אמבולנס אחרי אמבולנס, אמבולנס אחרי אמבולנס, בשטף שלא ראינו כמותו. כל הזמן מטפלים בפצועים קשים מאוד, הקצב רצחני. כעבור כשעה, שעה ורבע, אני רואה שכל חדרי הניתוח מלאים כבר.
חדרי הניתוח עבדו ברציפות, כמעט 3 ימים מטפל בכל הפציעות וכל הפצועים שהגיעו.
טיפלנו ביממה הראשונה ב-671 אנשים. 20% מהם קשים, בסכנת חיים של ממש.
כל אחד מהפצועים שנזקק באותה יממה לניתוח דחוף, לניתוח מציל חיים, קיבל את הניתוח הזה.
אני גאה באנשים שלי, אני גאה בשותפות של המחלקות השונות והגופים השונים בטיפול בפצועים.
הצוות עבד בלחץ. הצוות עבד ימים ולילות רצופים. הצוות נשאר בבית החולים. עבד כאן בצורה מסורה, מקצועית, קשה. לא אחת ראיתי אנשים מסתובבים הצידה, מזילים דמעה וממשיכים.
זה היה מאתגר מאוד. הסיפורים היו חלקם קורעי לב, חלקם מרגשים עד דמעות אפילו. סיפורי גבורה של ממש, של לוחמים שהגיעו וסיפרו לנו. אני חושב שעבדנו כצוות מיומן ומשומן במשך תקופה מאוד מאוד ארוכה ואינטנסיבית.
זה אות הוקרה מאוד מכובד שמגיע לעובדי בית החולים לקבל את זה ולראות שהם באמת מכירים בעבודתם, מכבדים את עבודתם, והם בהחלט רואים לזה כולם, מקטן ועד גדול.
זה מחמם את הלב לא רק שלי, אלא של כל עובדי המרכז הרפואי סורוקה. תודה רבה.
יש משהו באוניברסיטת בן-גוריון, שגם היה כשאני הייתי סטודנט, והוא לא השתנה עד היום, של הרבה יותר משפחתיות מאשר יש במקומות אחרים, ואנחנו צריכים לשמר את זה, כי זה מקום מיוחד. תודה רבה לאוניברסיטת בן-גוריון, אנחנו נמשיך להיות ראויים לתודה שלכם.
I now invite Dr. Shlomi Kodesh, Director General of Soroka University Medical Center. Professor Chezi Levy, General Director and CEO of Barzilai Medical Center. And Dr. Erez Barenboim, CEO of Assuta Ashdod Medical Center. I invite the President The President's Award for a significant contribution to the Negev and the State of Israel has been bestowed upon the medical centers in southern Israel: Soroka University Medical Center, Barzilai University Medical Center, Samson Assuta Ashdod University Hospital, in recognition of the tireless efforts of their medical personnel who with steadfast commitment and uncompromising professionalism work days and nights, dedicating their energy, time, and vast experience to providing the best possible care and saving lives. With sincere reverence for those exceptional individuals who on October 7th, 2023, rallied with great resolve to attend to the casualties flooding in from sites of carnage across the South. We stand in awe of their courage and mental fortitude as they extended aid to the wounded, to the liberated hostages, and to civilians and their families, bestowing upon them kindness, compassion, and life-saving treatment. And with profound gratitude for their vital contribution and enduring commitment to the residents of the Negev and their partnership with Ben-Gurion University in its mission to advance the Negev and the future of the State of Israel. Thank you. And our last President's Award for this evening goes to Nili Margalit.
נגב בשבילנו, אני חושבת, היה החופש האולטימטיבי, הקיבוץ הזה. זה פשוט לפתוח את הדלת ולצאת החוצה ולהיות חופשיים בעיקר. זה הבית שלי, המקום הזה. התחלתי ללמוד סיעוד פה ברקנתי. אחרי כמה שנים התחלתי ללמוד פה את התואר השני שלי בניהול מערכות בריאות. אני מרגישה שהוא לימד אותי המון. אני מרגישה שהוא פתח לי את היכולות חשיבה. כתבתי גם תזה, המשכתי את התואר השני לתואר מחקרי. ובגלל שנורא אהבתי ובגלל שמצאתי מרצים כל כך מדהימים, התחלתי לעבוד, להיות מרצה באוניברסיטה. אני אוהבת לבוא לעבודה. כמה שהיא תובענית ובמיון היא סופר משוגעת, אבל מי שאוהב את זה, מי שיש לו את זה, אז יש לו את זה. בפנטזיות שלי רציתי להתנדב בכל מיני מקומות. הייתי אמורה לנסוע במשלחת לאוקראינה. זה הכי רחוק שדמיינתי. ואז מגיע 7 באוקטובר. הוא לא נגמר עד היום. נלקחתי מהבית, נחטפתי, הובילו אותי למנהרות. הגוף מתפקד באיזשהו אוטומט. הייתי רק נוכחת בסיטואציה. לא חשבתי עליה, לא ניתחתי אותה, לא הבנתי אותה. זה שוק מוחלט, זה כאילו... זה כל הזמן, מה קורה פה? מה קורה? כאילו, מה קורה פה? כשהם שאלו מי יכול לעשות את הרשימה של התרופות, אז אמרתי, אני אעשה אותה כי אני אחות. לי היה מאוד ברור שזה מה שאני עושה, לא היו לי דילמות. ברור שיש לי מחויבות כלפיהם.
חלק מחטופי ניר עוז התקבצו בתוך איזה מעין אולם, הם קראו לזה האולם, ושם מרגלית, דודה שלי, פגשה עוד חברים, וביניהם גם את נילי.
מבין כל האנשים שהיו שם, חשבתי שאני הבן אדם הכי מתאים שיעשה את זה. לדבר איתם אחד על אחד, להבין מה קרה להם, אם הם נפצעו במהלך הדרך, ומאיזה מחלות כרוניות הם סובלים, שעלולות לסכן את החיים שלהם. כל הדברים הכי חשובים.
ונילי, עם הרשימות האלה שהיא העבירה לחמאס, דאגה לזה שיקבלו תרופות. ובאמת העבירו את אותם תרופות לתא שבו הייתה הדודה שלי, ביחד עם החטופים האחרים. אבל זה שנילי השכילה להיות האחות ולא נילי החטופה, אני חושבת שזה באמת משהו יוצא מן הכלל. כי אנחנו אף פעם לא יכולים לחשוב איך אנחנו נהיה, אם אנחנו נהיה בסיטואציה כזאת.
אני כל הזמן מתעסקת עם האנשים, ואני מתעסקת בכאן ועכשיו, אני כאן ועכשיו, אני צריכה לשרוד, אבל בשביל לא לשקוע ובשביל לא לאבד את עצמי שם, כל הזמן חשבתי איך אפשר לעשות עוד יותר. עשיתי לגרד ככה בתוך המוח שלי, מה אני יכולה עוד לעשות, איזה עוד רעיונות, באמת לחשוב על כל מסלול חיי וכל מה שלמדתי במהלך הדרך, ואני חושבת שזה שמר עליי. אני מרגישה כמו זומבי, שאני מתהלכת בין שני עולמות. העולם שרוצה להשתקם ורוצה לחזור לחיים ורוצה לחזור לשגרה, אבל קופר עדיין שם, והקבוצה שאני הייתי איתה, הגברים מהקבוצה הזאת עדיין שם, והכל נראה כל כך לא אמיתי ולא הגיוני, ואני חושבת שכשהם יחזרו, והתהליך הפרטי של האבל שלי, על אבא שלי, על החברים שלי, על הקהילה שלי, על הבית שלי, יתחיל איזשהו מסלול, אז גם התהליך של השיקום והחזרה לעבודה תקרה, אבל בשביל זה הם צריכים לחזור.
I invite Nili Margalit to join us on stage. I ask the President and Chairman of the Executive Committee to join her. The President's Award for Significant Contribution to the Negev and the State of Israel is hereby bestowed upon Nili Margalit in appreciation and respect for the fortitude you showed during 55 long days and nights in Hamas captivity, with admiration for your courage to stand up to your captors and confront them so that you could provide your fellow hostages with life-saving care under intolerable conditions of captivity. In awe of your inspiring professionalism as a graduate of this university, a nurse at Soroka University Medical Center, and a faculty member of the Department of Nursing, and your extraordinary resilience, dedication, humanity, and creativity that kept a small light shining in the intense darkness. And with gratitude for your tireless efforts to secure the release of all the hostages, your deep commitment to their safety, and your abiding hope for their swift return home. Thank you, Nili. And just before we say our farewells tonight, it's fitting that we end on a note that embodies our collective spirit and profound love for our homeland. En li eretz acheret. I have no other country. The earth may be burning, the words go, but one word pierces my soul. My body aches, my heart is hungry. This is my home. Lihi Toledano, I invite you back to perform this beloved song, En li eretz acheret.
נילי, את מעוררת השראה. אשמח להקדיש לך את השיר הזה.
להזכיר לה והשיר כאן באוזניה עד שתפקח את עיניה. אין לי ארץ אחרת גם אם אדמתי בוערת, רק מילה בעברית חודרת אל אורכי, אל נשמתי בגוף כואב, בלב רעב, כאן הוא ביתי. לא אשתוק כי ארצי שינתה את פניה, לא אוותר להזכיר לה והשיר כאן באוזניה עד שתפקח את עיניה. אין לי ארץ אחרת עד שתחדש ימיה, עד שתפקח את עיניה. תודה רבה.
Thank you, Lihi. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony. Thank you, our distinguished honorees. Thank you, the university's administration and faculty. And thank you, our wonderful guests, for being with us this evening. Thank you. A dinner reception will now be held at the Zlotowski Student Center. Everyone is invited. Would the honorees kindly remain on the stage a moment longer? Toda raba. Laila tov.